Here we go again.
Little Oak often.
Yeah.
We did not do one last week.
No, you were going
last week was a busy week.
Yeah, it was.
Well, we did
stuff going on.
Golf tournament and all that stuff. But here we are. We've just finished our first 90-day bootcamp training.
Yep.
You got a bunch of calls and emails and messages saying, why isn't it recorded? I can't make the training, whatever.
Yeah.
There's very good reason why we're not recording things anymore. I went on a bit of a rant in the training session. I'll say it briefly here. So 2 reasons primarily. Number one, we want to be able to offer PDP or credits. And so you can only get that if you're in person. Now, a person could still say, well, do both, record it and offer it in person. We know from our own trial and error, when you offer things recorded, people don't come because we all tell ourselves, well, I can't make it.
I'll watch it later.
I'll watch it later. And we also know from our own trial and error that people don't watch things later when it's recorded. So
it's also not the same. Like there's such a huge
It's not
difference.
the same for the person in the session. It's not certainly not the same for the teacher.
No, it's very hard.
So I can tell you it's a lot more fun and easier to do things when you got a full room versus a half empty room.
Yep.
The world sent everybody home in 2020. And every industry is fighting productivity, feelings of aloneness, isolation, and you can read news stories about it. There was another one in the news this week about the banks calling people back to work.
Isn't there like a 3-day forced
and there's certain people that are lighting their hair.
Crazy?
It's so stupid. Productivity is way down, flat across the board in every industry. I had my own personal encounter with a CRA rep because I was dealing with some taxes. Lady calls me, baby crying, dog barking in the background.
It's crazy.
Because she's at her house. This does not work. We are breaking the mold. We're getting everybody back in the office. We're not saying that you have to have an office, but you do have to come and see people from time to time, rub shoulders, break out of the
especially
isolation.
for training sessions and stuff like this.
We formed some habits in 2021 and 2022.
For sure.
We're not doing that anymore. So that's why we're not recording things. Okay. So
but that's also why we're doing
why we're doing this, because you know what? We get it. You can't always make everything now. Are we going to do this after every training session? No, we can't. But right now for the first bootcamp training session,
it makes sense, sir.
We thought, hey, you know what? Let's just jump on the podcast, make it one of the weekly podcasts. Justin and I are now going to go over, kind of do a run through of what we just went through. So for those of you who missed it, you're welcome.
Come in October.
Yeah. Well,
we've got both parts coming in October.
Yeah. We got a couple more sessions in October. That's right. So here we go. Let's just dive through. Do you want me to just lead the way, or you
lead
ask
the way.
questions?
I'm gonna ask questions. I sat through it. So
okay. So here's the general background. So through the months of June, July, Ray and I sit down and we kind of just analyzed what we'd done for training over the years, what we liked, what we didn't like, what we felt the market and specifically you agents, like our agents, needed and required moving forward. And so not knowing what we were going to do, we said, hey, let's just kind of study the lives of agents that we would say are successful realtors in our marketplace. Many of these agents have worked or work in our brokerage, or maybe have never worked in our brokerage, and just people that we like and admire in other brokerages. So we went about doing that. And our goal when we started was we're just kind of like write down traits and things that they do and just see what emerges out of that. And then what emerged out of that was these, what we now call 7 pillars, but it was really like 7 common themes between all these people. Not everybody did everything the same, but it was quite clear that these 7 things kind of all rose to the top and were repeated in everybody's lives. So we thought like, hey, why are we reinventing the wheel here? This is the 7 things that jump out amongst all of the people that we would love all our agents to be like. Let's build something around that. So we come up with the 7 pillars of a successful realtor. Which we kind of created through the summer. We've got this, we've expanded on this document that we got that we'll now be teaching out of moving forward. But then specifically coming into the fall, we said, hey, what are we going to do specifically for the fall? And
I just want to point out too, the document that he's talking about that we're going through.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you're watching this on Wants and Haves, it will be in the comments. If you're watching this on YouTube or listening to it via a podcast app, go on to the Wants and Haves. You'll find it on there. And if you don't have access to the Wants and Haves and you're one of our agents, reach out to me. I'll get you on there. And if you're listening to this and you don't have access to Wants and Haves because you're not an agent, then just go to joinlittleoak.com. You'll find the basic version.
Yeah. So we've got so there's two things we got. We got this basic version that Justin's talking about, but then we have an expanded version, which is what we went over,
That's what we're going over
in training this morning. And it is more detailed. There's a lot more to it. And if you need that document, I think it was, what was it? 17-page document or something.
Is it only 17?
I don't know. Maybe 40. It's more, but it's, but you can get it. We'll get it in your hands.
Yeah.
Okay. So 7 pillars of a successful agent, but then it was like, well, what do we do in the fall? Well, let's do a boot camp that's built around the 7 pillars. And the gist of what we did this morning, which we'll discuss now, is we walked through each of these pillars, taught kind of high level on each of them. And then everybody went away with a thick list of activities that can be accomplished in each pillar.
A lot of activities, and it's just sort of like a choose your own adventure type of, there's a lot, which is great.
And all of this, it's worth saying, I'm going to repeat myself again, because I just did finish this. So I apologize. Why are we doing this? Like, literally at the foundation of everything we do is we want to help you sell more homes. That's it. That's what we do. We help you sell more homes. Now, what does selling more homes lead to? More money. We want you all to have more money, because more money helps you pay your bills, feed your families, and hopefully beyond that helps you do and accomplish things that are important to you, whatever that is. So that's why we're doing this. And all of these pillars we know lead to more sales and money. Period. Okay. Easy. So the 90 days is 90 days of small incremental activity that will lead to significant growth and accomplishment, like every other boot camp we've ever heard of. Oftentimes it's used in the fitness industry. I myself have done a fitness boot camp in my life, and it worked tremendously. But I love that saying, we eat the elephant one bite at a time, right? You look at the elephant and you go, holy cow, I can't do this. You absolutely can. Take a nibble every day. We don't need to do it by tomorrow, but we can do a lot in 90 days. And so 90 days from now is the middle of December.
Which is perfect timing.
Which is perfect timing, because it's when we all need a break and we all want to go away for Christmas. And what better way to go into the Christmas season, having just accomplished so much and feeling so good about ourselves.
For sure.
Now, the other piece to a plan is accountability. And so I always wrestle with this, like, I don't want to make work project. I don't want to create a bunch of guilt and shame and have people more worried about the accountability aspect than the work itself. I myself hate that. But I thought, well, we got to do something that creates feelings of togetherness and accomplishment. So what we came up with today as a group in the session we were in is we're going to use 3 channels: Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp. So if you're an Instagram or Facebook person, every day now, assuming you do this for 90 days.
I missed this part.
Oh, you missed this part?
I was there for the WhatsApp part.
Where did you go?
Sorry, there was a lot going on.
Well, this was the most important part.
Tell me about this part. I missed this part.
Unbelievable. This guy missed this part. Well, you're going to like it. This is right up your alley.
Is it?
Yeah. Just hang on a second.
Okay, yeah.
Everybody in the room liked it.
That's awesome. That's good.
The great reveal. Justin's going to crap all over our idea right now. No, so what's going to happen is very simple. A person's doing one of the activities. Take a picture. Picture can be your notebook. Picture can be you reading a book. Picture can be you writing a list or whatever the activity is. And you're just going to post it, or you're going to just put it in the WhatsApp group. And if you post it, you're just going to say hashtag 90-day bootcamp at Little Oak Realty at RLP North Star.
Oh, cool.
And you're going to tag us.
Nice.
And that's it. No one has to know.
That's why there were questions.
No one has to know what this is. But if we all do this,
that's cool.
And we all tag and post each other, it's going to create a little bit of momentum online, which is kind of cool. Then as a brokerage, we can
actually use that later.
Post things that are going on. We will be able to post about our agents. Build
stories out of it.
Yeah, totally. We can promote you guys, whatever.
Amazing.
And then if you're not a Facebook, Instagram person, which trust me, I get it. It's a work in progress for me. We have a WhatsApp group that everybody can sign up for. And so
if you want to be a part of it, you just reach out.
Yeah, there was 20 something people in the class today. I'm sure some of you will want to sign up. This is not a WhatsApp group for asking about home inspectors or whatever. We have those, which are great. This is literally just for this, which means you are sharing your activities with a picture, and we are just cheering each other on.
Love it.
That's it.
Cool.
That's all that group is for.
Nice.
Okay. that was it. So you did like the idea.
I do like the idea.
All right. We got Justin's approval. Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
So that is, you know, there was a comment, I talked about, what does it mean to be successful? And as we looked at these agents and these pillars that arose out of these agents, it was not, what became clear to us was not that, oh, you need to sell 40 homes or 30 homes or 50 homes or 20 homes. It was actually two things. It was clearly defined priorities, which requires critical thinking. So that was evident in all of these people.
Sure.
And then the second piece was intentionality. And the best description of intentionality or version I found online was an attitude of purposefulness with a commitment to deliberate action.
Nice.
Okay. So this 90 days, this is the deliberate action.
Yep.
Okay. So like we covered the critical thinking piece is what we're doing right. You know, we're going over the philosophy. We went over this in the class this morning. You got to think right, but then you got to actually act.
Right.
And that is what separates the cream from the crop, is putting thought into action. Right. And so we're not going to reinvent the wheel. We're not going to, you know, blow up everything we're doing in our business and go, oh, I got to start all over. I'm a mess. No, we're just going to add tiny little elephant bites for 90 days. So that when we get to the end of the 90 days, we're going to go, holy crap, I just ate a lot of that elephant.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because I wrote notes a little bit as we were going through, and my only note, and I wrote it to you in WhatsApp, I just didn't send it, was the be intentional part.
Yeah.
Because it was such a big part of a lot of the stuff that you're going to go through later.
Also worth mentioning is the agents that we studied have not perfected all 7 pillars. In fact, most of them, probably all of them, have not. Some of them have only perfected 3.
Sure.
But they're amazing at 3.
3, yeah.
And that you can build a really good career if you're amazing at 3 things. Some of them are kind of more like pretty good at all of them.
Sure.
So there's no one way to do this. The whole purpose of what we're doing here is we're saying we can identify the things that seem to be the most important to have a great real estate career. Okay. We didn't make this up. We took this right out of people's careers.
Right.
So if we can identify those things, now we go, okay, what type of strategy can we implement to help everybody in all of those areas? And that's what we're doing.
I like it. Yep.
Plus, I mean, it's Ray and I teaching it, which has got to be worth something. Ray and I have done this a few times.
Yeah, you know a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the part too about there is 7, but don't try and master them all, because if you look at them, it's not
everybody.
Feasible. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. So the plan for today, which is what we're going to do is work through right now, is we're going to go through all 7 pillars, kind of touching them all, identify them, add a few thoughts to them, and then come away with the action plan.
Yep. And
so that was
October will go into depth.
Yep. And then you decide for yourself, are you jumping in? You doing 90 days?
You should.
You should. And the other thing too,
it's not a new agent thing. Just keep in mind too. I know you've mentioned that before, but this is not.
No.
I mean, new agents obviously need it, but this is not.
No, this is the most experienced agent in our office, dare I say, can learn from this.
Sure.
I've learned from it, preparing it.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, so there you go. One other thing, you know, we call it a 90-day boot camp. So let's say you have a vacation planned in there for a week and a half in the next 90 days, or you get sick or whatever. Don't beat yourself up. Like, it's not over. You haven't failed if you didn't do 90 days. Do 67 days, do 71 days, I don't care, do 84 days, like whatever it is, do something, and anything will be more than you would have done had you not started.
Agreed. Yep.
Okay. So pillar number 1, not foreign to us at all, database driven business. Now, what does that mean? So it's a CRM. So an agent that has a database driven business, number 1, has a CRM. Okay. So you don't have all your old clients and future clients on some Excel spreadsheet or in your iPhone or in your Google or whatever.
Yep.
It's in a CRM.
Yeah.
Good news is we have a great CRM available for free to everybody.
University, all the training's there.
Right. So that's number 1. Number 2 is we track important dates like anniversaries, birthdays. Anniversaries are like when people have moved. Other anniversaries, if you like, we keep track of those things. I'll get to what we do with those things in a second. Now, here's a shocker. Many of us have heard over the years, you got to have a CRM and you got to be in touch with your clients twice a month.
Yep.
Not true. Is that okay? Yes. Do some of the people who've totally mastered the database concept talk to their clients that much? Yes. But guess what? There's a lot of successful agents who have a database driven business who talk to their clients like 6 times a year. Like they might do like 4 emails, a client party, and another gift, or you know what I mean? Or like an anniversary, 2 email updates in the year, a Christmas gift. Like you don't have to go, oh my gosh, I don't do anything right now, and then get overwhelmed by the fact that you got to talk to your clients 18 times.
So are you, you might be saying this, I don't know, but then does that, the type of communication then that you're doing needs to be more impactful or
well, okay. So here's the thing.
Not that I'm saying money or gifts, but you're providing them something.
All communication does 2 things. It provides value and furthers relationship, right? Or drives relationship.
The provides value part. That's what I was leading to.
We always got to provide value. And I will say this, like there's a lot of people that might touch their clients a lot, but they're not driving a lot of value.
Sure.
And eventually you get tuned out, right? And so things like, you know, how often people open your emails or watch your videos or read your stuff or whatever. I mean, there's metrics related to that, right? So the point I'm trying to make is that there's a lot of successful agents out there who have great databases and great plans. They're only touching their clients 6 to 8 to 9 times a year, not 18 to 24 times a year.
Yep.
So if this is an area that you've struggled, bite small. You don't have to bite big, right? And we've seen evidence of this in these agents that we've studied. I said this already, we deliver value while reinforcing relationship. So a database-driven business does not just store information, right? So a lot of us, I think that's where we get hung up. We go, I have a database. I have all the stuff there. It uses stored information to drive communication. Communication delivers value and reinforces relationship, which leads to transactions.
Right.
Okay. That's the model or method. Okay. So that's pillar number 1, database-driven business. Pillar number 2, money management. Well, here's where we get a little personal, right? It's not always about what we're doing in our business. It's about what we're doing outside of our business that ironically has an impact on what we do inside our business. So bottom line is this: spending less than you earn and doing something positive with the remaining balance. If we can't afford our lifestyle on 70% of our income today, then we can't afford our lifestyle. Okay. And so I shared in the class this morning, I shared some stories that I'm aware of around me of real estate agents who, like in our broader market here, you know, they've had a really good run the last 6 or 7 years. And one would think that like they should be good, but ironically enough, the moment the market turns and they're in trouble, because they've been spending every dime of what they've been making for the last 6 or 7 years, which is hard to believe, but also not hard to believe.
No,
and so the moral of the story is this: it doesn't matter if you make 80 grand or 480 grand, whether you sell 5 homes or you've sold 45 homes, you need to establish the habit of spending less than you earn. And the reason, besides the fact that it's great to take the excess money and invest it elsewhere to build for the future, which is very, very important, you need to protect yourself against yourself when the market turns, because it's when the market turns and money's tight that if we are backed up into a corner, we tend to make bad decisions that are not good for the longevity or the future of our business. Whereas if you don't have that pressure because you haven't been living off of every dime and spending everything, now you're calm, cool, and collected. And it's okay if the revenue isn't flowing quite the same. So establish that habit. And I know it's, you know, you think out loud and you go, well, how is that possible? Life is so expensive. Rent is so expensive. Cars are so expensive. Everything's expensive. I would say in general, we are all more entitled than we should be. We all live in
excess.
We live in excess. The clothes we buy, the food we eat, the houses we live in, the cars we drive, everything is because we live in this world where we see everyone around us and we all want to be like the Joneses. We're all guilty of it. And we all need a little course correction and to shave it all back a bit. And so that's the piece that stood out to us amongst these agents. We looked at them, we're like, you know what? Like, that person's not even remotely living to the extent of their means. Now, that's not to say that some agents don't have a fancy car or whatever, but there's other areas that they, cut back or are living small. Or, I mean, here's the reality. An agent that sells 40 homes can live very differently than an agent that sells 10 homes.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
And the problem is that as we're growing in this business and we're selling 10, 12, 15, 20, it's so tempting to want to
go further,
have the lifestyle.
Sure.
And we got to really hold that back.
I would say this is one's a big struggle for most.
It's massive. And it's not just in our industry.
But it's tough in our industry though, because you are talking about large commissions.
Yeah.
Totally. It's tough.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Pillar 3, always seeking mentorship. So this one's interesting because I think when, at least when I think of the word mentorship, I think okay, I got to have a one-on-one relationship with somebody that I meet with, every month. And that is certainly a way to do it. But actually the thing that really stuck out to us in this area with these agents that we looked at was that while some of them at periods of their life did have mentors, for sure. And sometimes we pay for these mentors, right? Or coaches or whatever.
Sure.
The majority of the time, that was actually not the case. In fact, what these people have learned to do is they've learned to take these personalities that we encounter through podcasts and books and various things, and they turn those people into their mentors. And so much so.
Kind of like you're emulating a little bit then?
Yeah. And I mean, I would actually say that I'm like I'm an example of this. So I have used the language when talking to people. I've said things like, yeah, one of my mentors taught me this. This mentor has never met me.
Yeah, yeah.
They have no idea, but this is the power of the internet and whatever. And so much so that I have actually been in conversations, maybe even arguments with my wife in years gone by where she's looked at me and said, oh, you sound like whatever.
Sure, yeah.
And it's because I'm totally absorbing this person.
That's funny.
In this season of my life. They are a mentor to me. So always seeking mentorship is like a mindset. Okay. And these agents who we are, as we analyze their lives, we're going, these people live a life where they're like sponges. They're taking in information and they have a mentor or mentors at all time. And there's a difference though between we all read books, we all listen to podcasts, we all do whatever, but these people have I want to say a deeper relationship with the information they're taking in. And they're actually, struggling for a word. It shows through in what they do with the information, I guess is the best way
on the mentor side, you mean, right?
On the mentor side.
Interesting.
Yep.
Huh.
So
are there a lot of people in that area? You're not probably meaning just solely in real estate then too, right?
We studied, so I say we studied. It's true. So when Ray and I listed out these agents, what we did specifically is we listed out, I think it was something in the neighborhood of 20 to 25 realtors. And then we just started by writing down things about the person. We didn't even know where we were going.
Sure.
We just said, just write down things about the person, writing notes. This person does this. And then what happened when we compiled all the information, these common things started to rise to the surface. So of these people we looked at, which were only realtors, the word mentor is what kept on coming through. And then when we looked at, well, what does that mean?
Sure.
Well, we realized it was not that they always had someone in their life that they met with regularly. We realized that while they may have done that before, they had transcended is maybe not the right word, but they have moved on from that to going, I don't need a person every week.
Right.
As long as I have a person where I agree with their belief system, I can take their teachings, and that is like a mentor to me.
Cool.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yep.
Number 4 was 3+ streams of revenue. So, if you've done any of my business planning in the past, then you've heard me rail on about this because this is something I'm very much passionate about. But obviously, it's not just me; it's other people as well. You got to have more than one way of generating revenue in your business. Now, this is not to be confused with other streams of revenue outside of
real estate,
which is also a good thing. Someone might say well, I own an investment property, or I do this, or I do that. Great. That's fine. I'm talking about streams of revenue within the bounds of selling real estate. Yep. No business that I'm aware of, you know, this is a bold statement, but there's no business that I'm aware of that only has one way of making money.
Sure. Okay? Why would you?
Like whether you're in manufacturing or whatever, your client and your clients and your revenue come from different places. Mm-hmm. Same holds true for real estate. Now, I know we can meet realtors who might say, well, all my business comes from X, and 99 times out of 100, that's not true. Maybe the majority of their business comes from something.
When you say X, you mean repeat and referral?
Well, a lot of people, very few people are going to say 100% of my business comes from door knocking, right? Maybe in 1984, they would have said that. But right now, there'd be a lot of people that say 100% of my business, I'm repeat referral.
Yep.
I don't care who you are. You might put all the best repeat and referral systems. Maybe you're like a diehard Buffini person. 100% of your business does not come from that. No. You have more sources or streams of revenue. Those streams of revenue might be the fact that you are on some professional association, or you coach your kids' soccer and you get business from your kids' soccer team, or fill it, whatever. It's a million things. Maybe you also farm a neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Bottom line is this pillar we're talking about is everybody needs 3+ streams of revenue.
Right.
It does not have to be big. It might be that you are on your kids' school PAC committee and you've decided to join a secondary committee for graduation or whatever. And now for the next 12 months, you're in a meeting at least once a month. You're meeting with the same 20 to 25 people all the time. You're highly involved with their lives. Maybe you're having drinks with them, you know, or whatever. You can put a plan together for a year where that plan is devised to communicate, start, build trust, create value, drive relationship, right? That can lead to a transaction or 2 or 3. That's a stream of revenue, right? These are not complicated things.
I was talking, we just did the golf event and I was chatting with Dan Mickle.
Yeah.
And so I was asking him if he golfs Chilliwack all the time. He's got a membership there. And I said, do you golf? Do you have a group that you go with? He goes by himself purposefully.
Yeah.
And I said, have you gotten business from it? He said he's paid for his next 20 years of membership just off of golfing.
When we were in the class, I harped on Bray Schulte was there, and I talked about Bray. Bray, man, my throat is gone. You can tell I've been talking a lot today. Bray plays dodgeball. Mm-hmm. Dodgeball.
Yep.
Who would have thunk it? The adult.
I love that that's a thing.
It's a thing. Dodgeball. So he's in a dodgeball league, competitive dodgeball. I know, you can ask Bray yourself. The guy does deals, not one deal, deals every year from dodgeball.
It's awesome.
That's a revenue stream.
Yep.
We have these things all over. We rub and touch people. That sounds terrible. We rub shoulders and touch other people throughout our lives with everything we do. The key is identifying where these places are that we naturally move to,
right, and
figuring out, how do I formalize that into a stream of revenue? Okay. And the difference between those that do and those that don't is a little bit of critical thinking, a little bit of intentionality, and then some systems.
This was the pillar that I wrote the note, be intentional, when you said that, because it's true. Like when you pick your whatever streams that work for you or things that work for you, is actually being intentional and now making it business.
100%. Yep. So the key components to a revenue stream are identify, build, that's building the plan, doing the plan, which is implementation, and then the key one, measuring.
I love that one.
If you can't measure, you do. If you can't measure, you can't manage it.
Nope.
So, that would mean that, like, I'll just keep using the PAC committee thing because that's so attainable for so many people. You could have a totally great plan for 12 months for your people on PAC committee. In an entire year, you'll probably spend $800, right? Maybe you buy some coffee,
some food or whatever, sure.
Some gifts or whatever. If that leads to one transaction where you make 13 grand, 9 grand, 10 grand, whatever, that's a pretty good measurement, right?
I was going to ask you actually during the class, but I didn't want to interrupt.
What's the right number?
Well, not the right number, but, and maybe this will be part of October's training. I don't really know, but what if you're not getting a deal that year? Because some plans
you can't
take some
100%.
time, right?
So there's different things that you just can't expect to return.
Yeah.
12 months isn't always enough time.
Sure.
But you're going to know when you're in the situation. You're going to know whether or not, you're doing
something out of it.
100%.
Yeah.
And you know what? For most things, you will get a return in 12 months. There's other things, because here's the thing, a stream like PAC, we're just going to keep tagging on the PAC committee, or for Bray's thing for dodgeball, he's not starting with cold relationships.
Right.
These are already warm relationships, right? They know, love, and trust you. It's not
you're a
hard
person.
to
you're not an email.
100%. So if someone's going to transact, there's a high level of probability they're going to do it with you.
Yep.
If you're going to farm a neighborhood where it's a bunch of strangers,
much harder.
12 months isn't necessarily a good enough runway, right? Risk is higher farming a neighborhood. Returns are higher too.
Sure.
You farm a neighborhood successfully and do 5 deals, you might make 6 figures, but you're not going to get that turnaround in 6 months. Number 5, self-awareness of habits. So, I wrote down this note. It's not a problem to be an asshole. It's a problem not to know you're one.
I saw that part.
Everybody had a chuckle at that. It's true though, right? Like, self-awareness is huge. And when we talk about habits, we all know that bad habits are bad. It's bad to drink too much. It's bad to eat too much. It's bad to be totally unhealthy and out of shape. It's bad to whatever, do drugs and whatever. It's bad. Sure, fine. But if we're honest with ourselves and with those around us, we all have bad habits. And it's not always easy to just stop doing the bad habit. So what we saw in these successful agents is, you know, it wasn't like, oh my goodness, these people are all perfect. They have no bad habits. It's like, no, that person actually still drinks too much. That person's kind of a jerk. That person does this. That person does that. Well, that's weird. Okay, well then what is it that's different? Oh, in addition to their bad habits, they actually all have a lot of good habits. Now, some of them, because I know some of these people personally, over time, as they've established new good habits, they've dropped some of their old bad habits. But it's not like they woke up one day and said, I need to stop this, and then just went to work on stopping the bad. They actually went to work on starting the good.
Right.
And in doing that, it's like something magic happens, you know, like magically, if you start taking better care of your body and working out more, then maybe you'll just like start eating a little better because you're looking at what you're doing. You're going, why am I doing this? I'm working in this direction and I'm hurting myself with this. Right.
Do you think when you guys were figuring it out, like, cause you've known a lot of these agents.
I know everybody we studied. I know them very well.
Right. You've been in it for a while. Ray's been in it for a really long time. So it was part of that scene. Like they were like this.
Oh,
and they've
I can see growth in all of their lives. Right. Like, so I've known them, many of them. I mean, some of them haven't been around for as long as I've been around. But like all of these people, they've been around for at least 10 years. And I've known them the whole time. And you can see growth. And the thing is that it's not like they just went, I'm not doing this anymore. They actually started on the good. And it was in, you know, it's like this. And if anyone's ever had to taken care of a lawn, I'm an amateur. But like the way to get rid of your weeds is not always to go after the weeds. It's actually to just help the grass grow. Now, there are some weeds that are so detrimental to the grass that you got to rip them out. Right. So there's some things that some people are doing. It's like, you can't do that anymore. But a lot of times the way to get rid of the weeds is to just fertilize the grass, help get the pH right, the growth going. Hit it with lime. As the grass grows, it actually chokes out a lot of the weeds. That's the best way to describe it. That's the best way to describe it. There we go. So self-awareness, you know, and I said this in the class this morning. I said to everybody, you know, this is an uncomfortable topic for a lot of people, right?
You got some looks.
And I said, wake up every morning, be honest with yourself, look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself what a piece of crap you are. I didn't say it quite like that. I said, tell yourself what bad habits you have. Whatever you do, look yourself. I do this. My name is Andrew. I do this. And just leave it. Don't change it. Sit on it. Accept what's there. And then rather than trying to change the bad, get to work on starting something new. And whatever goes on chemically in our brains magically as this happens, I don't know. I'm not smart enough to know how to explain it, but I can tell you that it works. And there's something beautiful about just saying, my name's Andrew and this is who I am and this is what I do. Right. And just leaving it. It is what it is. But I also do this and this and this and this and this.
But it's being aware. That's why
100%. There's nothing more terrible than somebody who does something.
And they're not even aware.
And they're not even aware of it.
Or won't accept it.
or one of, yeah, they just, whatever. They live blind to it. Okay. This one, the most basic, yet the most tough for some people. Hard work. Hard work is not Monday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Yeah.
That's when normal people work. That's just work. Hard work is when you don't want to be working.
Right.
Hard work is early in the morning, late at night, on holidays, Sundays. This is the most like I don't even know what to say, anti-modern, not cool topic. Like everything right now is just like work-life balance and, you know, posting all the best moments of our life. And, you know, I'm taking time for me.
Right.
Whatever, this whole thing. And
we don't work in an
I'm sorry to say that that's, while it is a thing, it's not a thing amongst people that we've observed who are in this group of successful agents. Now, am I telling you to blow up your life and to walk away from your kids and whatever? No, I'm not. But all I can tell you is that you're not doing the hard work unless you're doing something when everyone else is standing still. And everyone else is standing still at those times that you don't want to be doing something. There's no other way to put it. Everybody, you know, it seems to be that right now everyone's, you know, got the life balance part figured out. You know, like the pendulum swung, right? Definitely swung. Like you go from like, you know, like if you look at like our grandparents, like baby boomers, or whatever, like those people work themselves into the ground. Yeah. Like when I compare, even our parents, like when I compare what previous, like, you know, 60s, 70s, 80s versus like what I'm observing now, holy cow. We are just a bunch of soft.
I feel lazy.
And it is wild. And some of this is technology, right? Like technologies, but I feel like the pendulum swung. I feel like there's like this day of reckoning now. You know, everyone's realizing like, I can't quite get away with this. And, you know, maybe the last few years and the whole lockdown, everything played into it. But like, we got to get our asses to work. And you got to work when other people are standing still. That is the trend amongst people that are leading the way in our industry, probably in other industries as well. Figure out what you're going to do, but it's either grinding it out early mornings, late at night, or getting ahead on that Sunday or on that holiday when no one else is doing it. If you, there's nothing more, I mean, I'll speak personally for myself. I don't like work as much as anyone else. I mean, I just want to play and do nothing, but I get so energized when I roll in whatever to a day at 9 a.m. and I've already put like 4 hours in. Like that's what I'll do. I get up early and I got my best juice in the morning and I'll work when everyone else is sleeping and I'll pound work. Man, does that like that just feels good. It feels good. And I just go like, I'm not playing catch up anymore. I'm way ahead. I got, and so many, there's things in this business that require like, for me, it requires like clarity of thought and silence and my phone not buzzing, you know, whether it's like working on a business plan or a teaching module, right? I didn't do any of this at like regular hours of the day. I can't do it. Stuff for me that's like deep thought, critical thinking, I can only do it in the fringe hours. That's the hard work. And everybody, like, I mean, I know there's people that are night owls. I'm done. Like I'm done by 9 p.m. My brain's fried. Even by 8 p.m. my brain's fried. You will not catch me doing an ounce of work late at night. So for me, it's not late. It's early morning or it's, you know, on days that everyone else is at the beach. Okay. That was pillar 6. Pillar 7, probably the most difficult one to master, but I think also the most financially rewarding. It's quite obvious to us that, so number 7 is mastering communication, being a great communicator. People who are great communicators in our industry, I think like we can all think of these people like around us. It can appear sometimes as though just business just falls in their lap. And you're like, how does like this person just like shows up and craps gold? Like what? It's because I don't want to call it the gift of the gab. It's more than that, but they are clearly comfortable communicating with people, but they've mastered how to communicate with people. I made some notes in the class and I said, the biggest business in the history of mankind relies primarily on stories to compel their clients to buy their products. When I said that, I think everyone in the room was like, what is he talking about? And of course I said, religion.
Yeah, you didn't wait long before you threw that
I said, religion.
Yeah.
Religious leaders have been using parables for thousands of years. And then I quoted Jesus. I said, seeing they do not see, and hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand. That was a quote from Jesus. So Jewish rabbis, Gandhi,
literally
the Buddha, every single religious leader used stories, parables, often referred to as, to compel people, I said to buy their product, to act.
Yeah.
To act. Stories bring feelings of empathy, and empathy helps us to identify with others, and we are social creatures. Some of us are less social than others.
Sure. Me too.
But we all want to be with the herd. We all want to be with the group. And so the reason a story is powerful is because if we are struggling with something, so let's envision a buyer or a seller struggling to act. They have fear, right? They have emotions that are driving them, right? Could be doubt, could be fear, could be, whatever, hesitation, guilt. There's all kinds of things, right? We need to break through that to that part of the brain. And one of the ways we break through to that part of the brain is we tell a story. The story can contain the truth that we're trying to say to them, but just saying the truth doesn't always work. If you put it in a story and then that person is able to subconsciously go, oh, other people did what Andrew's asking me to do. Now we can do it because we have this feeling like, well, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one that's been here before. In fact, Andrew shared a story with me of somebody who was in exactly the same situation, and look how it turned out for them. So I have like 4 stories that I go to. They're like in my chest of, and I pull them out from time to time. And one of them might be more of like a fear, hesitation story. And another one is this or that. And, I retell them all the time. And, I said to everyone in the class, I'll say here again, this doesn't need to be your story. You can rip off one of my stories. I was
just going to ask you from an agent maybe who doesn't have those stories.
You can tell anybody's story as if it's your own.
Yeah.
Rather than using language like, when I helped this client, it can be, here's a story of someone I know.
Yeah.
This is what they did.
Right.
And here's what happened. That's not lying. That's not untruthful. It's factual. Right. So, so I shared one of the stories in class today to give, as an example, and everyone went like, oh yeah.
Give it to me.
That makes sense.
Do you have it? Do you remember it?
I do. My throat's so dry.
It's been a lot of talking today.
So the story I shared, this real name, friend, client named Anthony. I met Anthony in 2011, 12, something like that. Young guy, about my age. So 2011, 12, think about it. I'm 43. He's, whatever. He was 30-ish. Hardworking, ironically enough. Guy works hard, works super hard. Had some extra money kicking around and was willing to lay it all on the line, and read some books and decided I want to get into real estate. So when the market was crappy and it wasn't trendy to buy real estate, he said, I want to buy some real estate. So we went about buying some real estate over the course of like 4 years. And needless to say, he did really well.
Sure.
And he's held that real estate for a long time. He's done really, really well. And look, in retrospect, you go, well, yeah, that's, sure. He's fortunate. He,
bought it at downtime, whatever, had money.
Is that your phone buzzing?
Nope. My phone's right here.
Well, it's my phone. I thought maybe you had to go because your phone was buzzing.
No,
he's waiting for an appointment. So let me get back to Anthony. So here was the point of the story. I use this story when people are hesitating, for reasons like when Anthony was hesitating. You gonna go now?
They're on their way.
Okay. Well, you can go. I'll finish the story.
You want to finish it off?
You can go.
Yeah. I think you're at the end.
Well, we're at the end. We're at the end. We're going to wrap.
I'm going to wrap. Pull 3 down when you let me go, but finish the story because it is a good one.
Yeah.
About Anthony. And then, we hit the end. If you
want to sit for 2 minutes, you want to sit for 2 minutes?
Let's do.
Okay. So, Anthony didn't want to, Anthony had some hesitation, but in retrospect, you go, oh my goodness, that was the greatest thing ever. So last week, I'm in a very similar scenario. Market's down, lending sucks. It's not sexy to buy a place right now. I'm in a scenario where someone's contemplating doing something, but we've drawn a hard line at a particular number. In order to get this place, we got to move about 25 grand. Well, person goes, what do you think? Andrew, what should we do? And I said, let me tell you a story about a guy named Anthony. And I literally told a story about Anthony. And before I could even get done the story, the guy goes, screw it, let's do it. That makes sense. Because we knew the fundamentals are we're buying in an adjusted market. Prices are way down. Yeah, lending sucks right now. But in a 10-year conversation, this is meaningless. 20 grand is meaningless. But I would have never got there without my story, of Anthony. We got to have stories to be able to compel people to take action. So that's pillar number 7. You got to go.
I do.
Is there any final thoughts?
Well,
or
the
questions?
only thing I was going to say with regards to what you just said is something that we've leaned on ourselves, which is express empathy and demonstrate authority. If you can find a way to do that in the way you communicate, it makes a massive difference. Lead
with empathy, demonstrate authority. And I guess you're right. That's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
Without even knowing it.
Yep.
And to be a master communicator, that is what you've got to be able to do. So there you go. 7 pillars. We rehashed it real quick. Justin's got delivery coming, so he's got to go.
Thank you. We're
going to see everybody at the next training session in
October.
like a couple weeks.
Yep. Check the
and
portal.
If you want to be on the WhatsApp chat group,
just message me or email me. I'll get you on to it.
And then for the next 90 days, we're tackling all these activities that are in this book that you guys can all get access to for the different pillars. And you're going to take pictures with a description of what you're doing. You're going to hashtag 90-day bootcamp. You're going to tag Little Oak Realty, Royal LePage North Star. And that's going to be our level of accountability. Nobody's going to know what it means, but we're all going to know what it means.
Awesome.
And it's going to create some good juice in the brokerage.
I like
everybody.
Awesome.
We did it. Justin's got to roll. Peace out, everybody.
See you guys next week.
Yep.